Have you been looking for ways to reduce living expenses? Have you ever considered living with extended family? Whether you buy a house with your parents, adult children, or even distant relatives, multi-generational living is on the rise in Cincinnati and across the country. According to the National Association of Realtors, 17% of home buyers are currently looking for multi-generational properties. That's the highest number ever recorded. So today, we're going to talk about multi-generational properties, the new ADU laws in Hamilton County, and whether or not this lifestyle might be right for you. First off, why multi-generational living? Rising home prices and economic pressures have just made it really tough, especially for younger adults, to live on their own. They just can't afford it. Housing costs being too high, they're trying to start their careers, they just end up staying with mom and dad a little bit longer. But we also see families purchasing homes together, get a larger home to combine households, costs, the raising of children, and or taking care of aging adults. So this is a trend that we are seeing here. There's always folks who want that in-law suite, but the 2018 Homeorama at Highlands Heritage Hill in the King School District featured several multi-generational properties that really highlighted maybe the need and desire for this style of living. Now, these homes were built by High Point Custom Homes, and they were all on 1 acre or larger lots, but really had some exquisite and interesting details. Now, it's not uncommon to see families build homes with that really decked out lower level with the kitchen / bar, full bathroom, bedroom, all of that, or a full guest suite on the main floor. But there are some new multi-generational living options. Hamilton County just recently passed an accessory dwelling unit law that allows people to add what they call an ADU. Think of it more like a backyard cottage, a secondary tiny home on the same property. But for those of you who don't know, this is really not common here. So older Indian Hill estates many times will have a carriage or guest house that is suited for this type of multi-generational living, but otherwise it's just not something that we see very often. So here's what you need to know. An accessory dwelling unit needs to be smaller than the primary residence. It also must comply with current building codes, like having a separate entrance and proper utilities. Now, some neighborhoods or homeowner associations do have additional restrictions, like that it must be attached to the main home, or it may need to have the same colors, aesthetic, building materials as the main property. And not to get too deep in the weeds, but additionally, from the Hamilton County website talking about ADUs, it seems that the goal is really to have the homeowner live in one property or the other. It might also be a family member, but renting both of them out is really not the goal. So you do have to sign restrictive covenants with the county, and those restrictive covenants do run with the land as long as the ADU is in place. They didn't mention it, but something else that they might take into consideration when approving an ADU is parking. I mean, there are so many streets that are already just full with cars, and adding additional people to an area like that may not be what the city is hoping to do. Now, what we love about ADUs, in a multi-generational situation, you can have privacy while still being fairly connected, but also it increases your property value and flexibility. But it's also the potential for cost sharing as well as the potential for additional income. But things to consider before you order that super cool ADU that you found online: zoning restrictions. Make sure that you contact the county, the city, the village, the township, whatever locality you live in, all of those people have to be connected with, as well as any HOA or other governing body. And make sure that you get any information they give you in writing, especially if they're like, sure, you can add that ADU. But let's just take a second and talk about the pros of multi-generational living. Cost efficiency, shared housing costs for mortgage, utilities, taxes, insurance, maintenance, maybe food, maybe transportation. It just allows you to maybe purchase something that would otherwise be out of reach in today's housing market. But also closer family bonds, just having those opportunities to spend more time together and have more shared experiences. But let's be realistic. There are some cons that also go along with this lifestyle. So first off, privacy concerns, like not having as much maybe personal space as you would like. Also trying to balance routines, schedules, food requirements, and lifestyles. But also the limited inventory for homes that would have enough space to house everybody. So there's a lot of things that have to kind of fall into place to get a home that's going to work for you. Also, financial challenges, the cost of renovating or maintaining a larger property with additional mechanical systems, higher property taxes, and higher insurance. There's also some challenges sometimes when selling a property like this, because the people who need it, and this is what they're looking for, they're going to be all over it. But again, we have 17% of buyers looking for this type of property. Now, that could increase when there's more available, but currently there's a much more limited buyer pool. So is multi-generational living your thing? If you want to go out and find a home that you can house multiple families, let's look for something with separate entrances or living quarters. Sometimes there are basements that actually walk up directly to a garage or come down from an upstairs directly into a garage. I've seen both. So we're also looking for flexible layouts with a full bath on the main floor or the space to add that shower to a half bath, because that almost always exists. We also would look for properties that have enough space to maybe add on, or that you could get equipment around to the back to do an addition or to install an ADU. So where would we find these types of things that could get approved? Well, definitely areas of Hamilton County with larger lots, or, spacious homes with oversized garages. Even Indian Hill has pretty large lots. Most all of them are 5 acres, and if not, many are 1 to 3 acres. So Indian Hill would be a great opportunity if your budget allows. But if you're looking to add an ADU, I would certainly look for areas that are kind of outside some of those larger municipalities out in Butler, Warren, and Claremont County. You have to be outside of HOAs and something that has a little bit larger lot and fewer restrictions. So if you're curious about adding an ADU or finding a multi-generational property, I'd love to help. Whether you're exploring home with these existing characteristics, or we're gonna renovate or even build one, let's work together to find the right solution for you and your family. Connect with me by visiting my website, newcincyhome.com, and fill out the buyer or seller contact information. You can also call me direct or start a conversation in the comments below. That's it for today, but make sure you check out this video to learn more about living in Cincinnati, and we will see you next time.